Welcome, Rangers fans, to our weekly midweek coaches show. As we do each week, we kind of talk about what has and what will happen in the world of Smithson Valley athletics. And as we always do, we kick off with what happened last week in the football program. Here we are in the week of the 15th ball game. We had our 14th game last week, 4 rounds deep in the playoff state quarterfinal game in the Alamo Dome last Saturday against Flower Bluff. A game that we were able to win 49-14, which makes us the quarterfinal champion for the second year in a row and sends us to the semifinals this coming week. So let's go back to that game. It was a 2 o'clock kickoff in the Alamo Dome, so the weather was good. Had a good crowd there. Flower Bluff, of course, their crowd was excited. Anytime there's only 8 teams left, as there was last Saturday, everybody's pretty excited. But a little back and forth early on. We were able to score, and they went right down and scored to tie it up. And then, we kind of had an avalanche there in the first and second quarter. And so to go in ahead 42-7 at the half. So let's talk about defense first, Coach. The old adage, if you score on defense, you usually win the game. If you score twice on defense, it's almost a certainty.
Yes, sir. We didn't start really the way we wanted to. Gave up 3 explosive plays on their first drive and consequently resulted in a touchdown, as you would think. But I was really proud of our kids for settling in. They didn't flinch. They didn't drop their heads or anything. They knew it was going to be a long battle against a quality opponent. But like you said, kind of had an avalanche of turnovers there in the first half. Diego had a really nice interception, and then we had 2 pick sixes. Cade Spradlin intercepted one and took it back 60, 70 yards, whatever, broke some tackles.
82 yards.
82 yards. I know I was excited running. I couldn't keep up with him. I know that. And then right there before the half, Julian Kalunga had another pick six. So, it's good to score on defense a couple of times, that's for sure.
No doubt, and then I think as well as they threw the ball, they were very balanced. They were able to run the ball as well, and we held them to 42 yards rushing. If you do that, you got to feel good about that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we talked all week about they're going to throw the ball a lot, but we still got to try and make them one-dimensional and stop the run. And thought by and large most of the game we were able to do that. We didn't give up the explosive runs that they had been used to getting and try to make them one-dimensional.
You bet. I think, we mentioned the flurry right before the half. I think it's 21-7, and then we go down and score, make it 28, and then we get a pick six and run it back, and then we get another pick six, and next thing you know, it's 42-7 at half. And game's not over, but it's awfully difficult to come back from that. Turning to Coach Hill and talking about the offensive side of the ball, good balance between the run and the pass, and we got a lot of playmakers involved.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Cade Spradling, just mentioned him on defense, accounted for 5 touchdowns on the night, threw for 2, ran for 2, and then, of course, had the pick six. So when you got something like that going, that's pretty special. But, not just Cade. Our offensive line's playing great. The running game, we had 4 guys over 40 yards rushing, which 40 doesn't seem like a huge number, but when you compile that many guys to do it, that added up to over 230 yards rushing. Brody Day continues to be an explosive receiver. P.K. Miller started off the game with a 60-yard touchdown. So just some explosive plays all around.
Yeah, no doubt. I think we had the big 60-odd throw and catch and run for a touchdown to PK, and I think Cade then went 75 or so on a run, and then we had another big throw to Brody for a touchdown in the second half. So, just doing the things you have to do to try to win against a quality opponent with a lot at stake, and it's a good win. It puts us in the Final Four, the semifinal game. This week. This is the 8th time our school's been there, including last year and, of course, now this year. So here we are now going to play in the second week of December. The weather's turning a little cool, and there aren't very many games left in the state. I think there'll be just 20 games this week, and so and you're one of them. So, we feel good about where we're at, but we got a lot more to do. And I got a tough semifinal opponent, as you always do. And then we got to do a little traveling to get to the game. So we're going to talk about that game and who we play and where and a little bit about it when we come back. But as we do at the midpoint of each show, we're going to break and turn it over to Melissa Miller and our principal, Mrs. Snyder, and they're going to talk a little bit about what else is going on at Smithson Valley High School. So, ladies, take it away.
Thanks is Coach Hill, but surprise, I don't have Miss Snyder with me today. I actually grabbed our new girls basketball coach, Kathleen Johnson, to come down with me. Miss Snyder's taking care of Rising Rangers for all of our 8th grade incoming Rangers. So I thought we could talk to Coach Johnson. Girls basketball, as we've talked about, is in the middle of their district season, so kind of get a little bit more of an in-depth look at our girls basketball program. So thank you for being here.
Yes.
We'll get to that in just a minute. I do want to talk about the other things that have happened this past week. A lot of good things to celebrate. Boys basketball opened up district with a tough district loss to Alamo Heights. 4 points last Tuesday. Great game, really down to the wire, as most of their games have been. And then they went to Georgetown this weekend for the Jack Frost tournament. They came back 3-1. They had really big wins over Georgetown, who hosted the tournament, which is always awesome. Waco Midway and El Paso Hanks. So 3-1's great for their weekend. They go right back into the district season this next coming week. We do want to give a shout out to Wayne Jerica, who was nominated and named to the all-tournament team. So congrats to boys basketball. And then, as we talked about last week, Miss Snyder hit on it, we hosted our Clarkson Classic, which is our big wrestling tournament, 19-team tournament. Historically, it's been the Winter Classic, but Coach Thomas and the wrestlers have decided to rename it the Clarkson Classic in honor of Coach Clarkson. And I just wanted to take a moment to say, Coach Thomas and the wrestlers, I know, have made Coach Clarkson so proud. The way that Coach Thomas set up that tournament by himself, 19 teams. I mean, you guys giving up the gym a little bit early so he could get in there, set up both gyms. I'm just so impressed with the setup of Coach Thomas, and then obviously the performance of our kids. Our girls and boys finished second in the tournament, so brought home silver in the boys division, silver in the girls division, and I just know that Coach Clarkson is smiling down on us, very, very proud of what we named the Clarkson Classic. So congrats to wrestling for a wonderful weekend. And you guys also had a great weekend.
Yes, we did. We played in our last tournament last weekend over in New Braunfels. Ended up winning one, big win over Leander.
By a lot, right?
By a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
We were able to take care of them, and our freshman, Olivia Lindner, had a huge game, 23 points. That's her career high so far. So we were excited about that. We lost a close one to Canyon by 1. And then also lost to Reagan by 6, and then a really good Rouse team by 14. So
close games. I mean, you got a huge win and then close losses.
Yeah,
so.
a lot of growth for this group.
Yeah.
Really excited about some of our young players. We only have one senior, so there's been a lot of growth there. And Sayana Cavazos is playing really well right now. She's averaging 15 points as our point guard. So some really good things, yeah. Really
and then preseason, you guys had a big win over Reagan. What were some other preseason highlights for you?
We had a really good preseason. We have ended up 7 and 10 in the preseason. So that's been exciting for our kids.
With a tough preseason schedule. I mean, you guys didn't have a cakewalk. You played some really good competition.
really good teams. Our sub-varsities have been developing nicely. JV had a really strong
crushing it,
preseason.
Right? Yeah.
They're 2-0 in district, so we're excited about them.
Awesome.
And I do want to mention our freshman babies got their first win at Alamo Heights last week, 34-14.
A big one.
A big one. Yeah. So shout out to Coach Hernandez and the freshmen on their first win.
Yeah. So Coach Johnson is coming to us from Northside. This is her first year at Smithson Valley. What do you think about the district? You guys are a couple games in now. What does the district look like for you guys, girls basketball wise?
It's a tough district. This is a tough district. There's some really solid teams. You got Piper and Wagner, who have a lot of experience, a lot of really high quality players. But we are competing. Yeah. We're in games. We lost a close one to Bernie Champion by 3, and then a close one to Alamo Heights last Tuesday. So our kids are playing hard. They are gaining experience, and we're just excited that we have this whole group back next year. So it's all about building with these guys. They're coachable. They play hard. So we're having a lot of fun.
And that's obvious, and I've talked about it on Ranger Network before. If you go watch these guys in practice or games, you can just sense the positive atmosphere, the energy, the excitement that is in the girls basketball culture right now. So that's a testament to you and your coaches. Let's talk about this week. Who do you have coming up?
So tonight we have Bernie at home here at 6:30, and then Friday we'll go over to Piper and play them at 6:30.
Which will be a good one. Y'all are kind of right in the middle of your district. First
Yep.
round, right?
Yep, first round.
Okay. So if you have a chance to come out tonight and watch them at SV, like I said, she's a lot of fun to watch coach. The passion and the excitement of her kids is from her. And her coaching staff. So if you have a chance to come out, I know they'd appreciate that. If not, you can head over to Piper Friday night. Let's talk about boys basketball. They follow the same schedule as you guys. So since the girls are home tonight hosting Bernie, the boys are at Bernie tonight. 6:30 for varsity, and then sub-varsity is obviously before that. And then Friday, the boys will host Piper here as y'all travel to Piper. Same thing, varsities are at 6:30, sub-varsities are at 5. Swim is heading to Davenport this Friday for the spooky Friday the 13th invite. So good luck to Swim. They're kind of in the heart of their season. I think next coming up is district for them. So good luck as they prepare for that. Wrestling tomorrow, Wednesday, is heading to Austin Vandegrift. And then Saturday, they'll go to Pinnapalooza in Cedar Park. So lots coming up for wrestling. And then as we talked about last week, soccer kicked off. So soccer started practice last week. They've got their first scrimmages this week. If you want to come see them, both are here at SV. Friday, the girls will host O'Connor at 7:15. I believe JV goes at 5:30 and then varsity's at 7:15. And then the boys are hosting an inter-squad scrimmage, so like a Navy white scrimmage, Saturday morning here at SV. So if you're not going to make the trip to Waco on Saturday, come check out our boys team. You can see a little highlight preview of what's to come for them. But good luck to football, obviously. We hope to see all of you guys in Waco on Saturday. And back to you, Coach.
Thank you, ladies, and good luck to all of our athletes and students as we move forward into these last 2 weeks of the fall semester. It seems like the thing is just shot by, and I know talking to our football team, it just seems like we just started our two-a-days last week. But in fact, that's been quite a while ago, including the 2 weeks of preseason practice and the open week that's in there. You know, we've been at it for 17 weeks now. We're in our 18th week, and 4 teams to go, and we're one of them. One of the other ones, the one we have to play this week, is Angleton High School from the Gulf Coast area. They're 13-1, obviously on a bit of a roll. You have to be, because if you lose, you're out. But they won a tough quarterfinal game the other day of their own against LaPorte, a team from their own district that they had actually played during the regular season. They had lost a close game to LaPorte. I think it was week 8 for their only loss of the year, but they avenged that last week, 24-21 win. They played at NRG Stadium, so they too obviously are in the semifinals. And this is our 8th time, as I mentioned earlier, and the 7 previous times kind of mirror this one. You never get to play anybody bad in the semifinals. That's just kind of how it seems to work. And Angleton has got talent at every position, and they're obviously doing a tremendous job coaching and playing, and have a lot of things going for them, or they wouldn't be here. So let's talk a little bit about their offense. Coach Westerfer, quite a bit different maybe from what we've seen all year and certainly lately.
Yes, sir. Yeah, their offense, we have not seen that style or those particular plays necessarily out of those formations offensively, and they're very much a run-at-you team. They're 65% run. They don't mind packing you in there, and then they're going to have some pullers, and they're going to try and outnumber you at the point of attack. They're going to run the ball right at you. They're averaging 230 yards a game rushing. But then they're very successful at throwing it off of that. You know, I mean, they're not a drop back, hold the ball, throw it type team, but they run a lot of bootlegs, a lot of sprint outs, and a lot of play action passes that can really hurt you because they get everybody sucked down there, trying to stop the run and then hit you over the top with some explosive plays. So it'll certainly be a big challenge against a well-coached team, great offensive line, no weaknesses as you would expect in the semifinals.
Yeah, not too many weaknesses, and like you said, they're counting on your unfamiliarity of what they do to help bring that to help bring them success, and they're very good at what they do. Coach Britton and his staff obviously have done a tremendous job. They're perennially good. This year, obviously, good enough to even be in the Final Four. So, defensively, Coach Hill, a little bit different maybe than what we've seen. Certainly have talented players at every position.
Yes, sir, they do. They're based out of a 4-down front. But what sticks out the most is just super aggressive, very physical team. Their front seven is easily one of the best that we've played all year for good reason. They're in the semifinals, and they're just not making mistakes. You know, they're not having any blows. They're always in the right gap. They're always playing sound, and they play fast and aggressive, and that's what makes them so good. You know, they leave their DBs, their corners are talented guys. They leave them out there on an island sometimes with some one-on-ones, which allows them to play some games up front. So pretty dangerous on defense as well.
No doubt, and not necessarily an area you can attack them anywhere. Their kicking game is very well researched, well thought out, well coached. So, you know, not an edge there that we can get either. You know, we're just going to have to settle in there and play the long day and hope you make enough plays or make more plays than they do to give yourself a chance to win late in the game. The game is Saturday at 2:30 at McLean Stadium on the campus of Baylor University, where Baylor plays their home games. That's the neutral site that was selected. 2:30, McLean Stadium, Smithson Valley against Angleton. The game will not be live on Rangers Network. Unfortunately, the UIL has nixed that, but will be broadcast tape delay as we've done all year when we haven't been able to go live. So we hope you'll take the short trip up 35 to Waco and watch it in person. It's supposed to be great weather on Saturday, be a beautiful Saturday afternoon, nice warm day in December. And then catch it later on the replay on the Rangers Network. So we thank y'all all for being on again this week, and we'll see you next time.